Okay, this is part two. We're going to talk about the cost of the smart grid. Of course, it's going to get really expensive. It's hard to nail down an actual estimate. Estimates have been 100 billion up to 2 trillion. 20, 30 years is hard to know exactly how long it's going to take because you never know when you have to might put a new power plant in. That could cost billions of dollars. Also, you might have to run electrical power lines through mountains, tens of millions of dollars right there. So it's going to get really costly as far as the utility company's infrastructure is concerned, which is, you know, the majority of it. Now, however, at the residential and business user level, we need a new smart meter, and we need those sensors on our appliances. Those That's going to be a little more cost effective for us because, of course, we could probably build it into our bill and pay just a little bit per month and pay for that hardware. Smart meters have estimated to cost around $250 each. The sensors, I'm not quite sure. I couldn't get a number on that, but they'll have some costs as well. And not to mention if you have to retrofit your old appliances or buy newer smart grid technology ready appliances that you could just plug well, actually there won't be a plug that could wirelessly connect to your smart meter. $250 each times approximately 140 million subscribing electricity customers in the United States equals 35 billion. So that's a lot of money right there. The government has, started with some stimulus packages and whatnot. We got 11 billion in 2009 with promises for more to come. But that's just a down payment. Most of the money is going to have to come from the private sector, and private investors are going to want interest, generally at 12% or better. So if $100 billion investment spread out over all of our electricities, we're looking at about an extra $5 per month on our bills for, indefinitely, I don't know how long. So next we come to the interoperability and the standards of it. What is the smart grid going to look like? What will the standards be? What are the protocols be used to transmit that secure data wirelessly and then through the power lines? All of this is, reasons why it's hard to nail down exactly how much it's going to cost. The vendors, they don't know what to sell yet because there aren't any standards established. Once we get those established, we'll be able to get closer to really going in on the construction aspect of it. So it's really in the vendors' best interest and utility companies just to keep meeting and having conferences and commissions and organizations formed to open those lines of communication. And if you can't be in the same building, software is going to be a really good solution to help bridge that gap. Once those standards are established, vendors can really get in and start making some money. There'll be room for installers, manufacturers, service people. All these companies will start popping up to service smart grid technology. And that's going to be a good thing. It's going to provide jobs. Software, of course, is going to be a big part of that. Everybody's going to need software, from the consumer managing their electricity to the utility companies managing their billing with contract management software for their customers. Vendors and utility companies are going to need some software environment to place orders and place service orders and stuff like that. So the hardware needs to be placed down, and then the software needs to be able to run on it efficiently from one system to the other. An organization known as Emporion has positioned itself to be a leader in the e-commerce utility environment, which smart grid technology is going to basically be a big part of. This Florida company sells the software as a service environment where utility companies can join and become a part of it and get with other vendors and submit RFPs and proposals to each other and create a really good environment for this to happen. They were awarded a $247 million grant for their customers, and they're going to spread it out. Utility companies, cities, manufacturers, and partners in almost all 50 states, 49. They'll use that money to facilitate infrastructure improvements, smart metering advancements, and software-based systems. As far as the standardization goes, you've got ANSI is the American National Standards Institute. They've come up with a standard for meter table data communications transfer. When your smart meter calculates data, and it'll keep it in a database and then transmit it. And ANSI, or the American National Standards Institute, has come up with a standard called C12.22 that will securely enable this transfer. Itron, Elster, and Trilliant Incorporated have announced their support. These are smart grid vendors, have announced their support for this this standard. So I'd look for those names in the stock market. If you play the stock market, that'll probably be a good one to invest in. And this way they're getting ahead of the curve, and they can go ahead and start establishing their foothold on the market for selling hardware and service for infrastructure development. Now, your traditional meter manufacturers are not going to go away easy. They're going to do what they can to stay in the mix and prevent these other companies from taking over. Another obstacle that certainly is going to matter is how large your city or town is. Your larger size cities, Miami, Chicago, New York, with hundreds of thousands of customers, will certainly be able to adapt quicker because they have a lot more income and revenue being generated from the sheer number of their customers. But your smaller cities and towns, may not see the benefit right away compared to the amount they got to spend to get their infrastructure up to par. So what I'd recommend is for lots of smaller companies to come together, if not physically, logically, and of course that can be accomplished through software-based, and that'll allow them to manage those costs and spread them around a little better and keep track of their customers and itemized and everything. And a good software-based solution for this will be what allows them to make this happen. And then once that's established, later on down the line, these smaller towns can either split apart and continue on their own, or they could see the benefit in working together and continue that way on together. So that's just another benefit of a software-based solution. We're going to pause here and go on to part 3.